All right, I'm back. I'm going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings and what I believe is a not a boom or bust season. I do believe that this team has shown the tenacity, the will to carry through, and not to give up during even hard times or rough patches. So I do believe it will not falter completely if it goes south, but the team got everything it needs to go far into the playoffs. Um, there are obstacles like the division. It's getting brutal. It's so typical that when you finally get a really good roster that that all the other teams in the division is stacking up really good as well. The Bears, we have always had problems notoriously at Soldier Field. The Lions, it's a toss-up each time we face them, both at home and at their place. So you never know what to expect from those games. The Packers, I actually believe we can beat uh, quite soundly if we're disciplined. Of course, you need to be that when you're facing Aaron Rodgers. But talent-wise, the defense is getting better, but offensively, they could do. They need to be better to go anywhere. I think they're quite overrated on offense. I can understand the hype on defense, though. It's unfortunate that the whole NFC is really, really talented right now, and there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the league right now. So even though the team got Kirk Cousins, but I still think we are some way away from being at the top of that chart, if you could say that, with QB chart in the league or in the NFC. But with Kurt Cousins, I can see us go far and to the Super Bowl and win it. Though the stars have to align perfectly. We need some luck. We need to execute flawlessly, especially on defense. It needs to be way more sharp than it was in the preseason, especially on third downs and in the run game, which was the pivotal point of last year's success entirely in its entirety on defense. Everything was built on a solid run defense. I think depth-wise, our defense is loaded. I'm actually a little bummed that we let Ifadi or Denigbo go, but it tells you something about the depth. I expect a player like Eric Wilson, Weatherly, maybe. Let me just check for a second. Yeah, Weatherly and Wilson and Tayshawn Bauer and Jaleel Johnson as well. Those four guys to step up and play a considerable role in the rotation, which we lacked last year. We need to be able to get to replace guys during the game so they're not just completely gassed when we hit the playoffs. Even though we might be in some dire straits throughout the seasons where we have to play constantly the same guys. I don't know, but preferably I would want to see some rotations. On offense, it starts with the play calling, it starts with the O-line. You can have any quarterback you want, but if there's pressure constantly on the pocket, it's getting real hard to do something creatively. be creative just in general. I I see some problems right now with the state of the O line, especially surrounding the center position. Brett Jones, is that really it? I'm not feeling it, but we have to. Yeah, beggars can't be choosers, and this is how we chose to stack our roster, and I understand why we did it this way. But with the state of the NFL and the really, really lacking amount of O-line talent and the rises, the overflow of defensive line and linebackers, it's a really talented generation of those two, not positions, but groups of the defense. You get just a terrible combination facing the terrible mass of bad luck going towards our own line, because we will face probably all the most talented defenses in the league this year. So we have to get creative with the play calling at some point, but still we gotta keep true to our game and gotta be able to do some, which we didn't do well. Okay, our second unit did well, but not our first unit. We gotta be able to do the screen passes and execute them way better than we did in the preseason with the first unit on offense. Secondly, give Laquan and Rudolph the ball more. They are so talented, and they can basically keep the defense honest. I would like to see Dalvin Cook out in motion a lot more. I know he has had some drops, but if we can move him outside, he is just amazing. I would have loved to see more depth at the tight end position. It's looking kind of grim if Rudolph goes down. I don't know what to say more at that position, since there's no real replacement. But David Morgan, it's so with him. He's more of a gadget player when we go down into the end zone. I think our strongest group on offense is a tie between the receivers and our backfield with what is it called? The running backs, or the backs just in general. I really enjoy watching them, and I do believe we need to have packages with a lot of, or maybe with 3 running backs. It could be a little weird, a little unconventional, but each of them got so much talent, and you could really, really mess up the defense if you can just get the slightest of protection. I don't know about deep balls, how many we will be able to produce this year. I think it's going to be maybe a little slow start on offense. You gotta build confidence first, then you can take the big shots downfield. And it's really important as well that our kicking game with Carlson, that it works from the start, because the defense needs to get every point on the board. As of looking at the Vikings' deficiencies on offense right now, you need to be able to push every field goal. You need to connect every field goal. It's so important to get the success from the start on. And throughout the first games of the preseason, it's been looking rather poor on the scoreboard, but the offense have been moving the ball well enough, but it has not it hasn't converted into points, which is so important. I really hope De Filippo got a really solid game plan going into San Francisco, since it could get really ugly, real quick if our defense is not ready. And I'm just a little scared of the 49ers. For me, they are a team that could start 5-0 and go like we did some years ago, 8-8 in the end. It depends on the way they are coming into the game and if we are prepared, if we don't take things for granted. But really, we should be able to handle them, and we should start 1-0. But you never know with these games. The opening games are toss-up at times. Else, I really hope that the staff, that we can keep the staff throughout the year, that there's no health issues. It has been a problem, and it really messes up the dynamic entirely on all parts of the squad or the team. And they don't need distractions. Even though I believe they can keep their focus, it is a distraction nonetheless. If something goes south, injuries happens, and if something goes wrong, I can also just see this team. Not as I said early on in the video, they won't collapse entirely, but it could go wrong with injuries like any other team. But I think on offense it could get really bad, really quick, if it's the wrong positions like the O-line, which is notoriously a hard position to play, mainly due to the complexity and the risk of getting injured. Fortunately, Cousins is really durable and should be able to withstand it, though he needs to be able to scramble a bit. So all in all, I believe this season, everything, if the stars align correctly, they should be able to go far. If it goes wrong, maybe 8-8, something like that. And mostly, I wanted to say that I am excited to see the season, but I won't won't say it's a fiasco if if it doesn't align, the stars doesn't align, don't align this season. But by that I mean that it is really hard to be good right now in the NFL. The conference and the division especially is so brutal, and our schedule as well. It's not to make up excuses, it's just being realistic. And good teams can falter if the play call, or not the play calls, if we lack the luck that you need. We had luck last year. We shouldn't have won that playoff game. And you need to have some favorable bounces here and there. And if we don't have them, I still believe in this team nonetheless, just like I did not the last year, but the year before, where we went 8-8. The team is just as talented. This year, there's just huge expectations, and huge expectations are hard to follow through or follow up on. It's really hard, but I believe in the team. So let's go back. Skål.